So tell me, if you have to choose a piece of chess that will represent you, which one will be?
Well, there are a lot of pieces on the chessboard. I would say I like the dame because of her power and her freedom. She can do whatever she wants. Obviously, the king is the one that needs to be defended, but the dame I find the most important piece.
If you'll choose between Cyriac and Nastase to play a chess game, which one will choose, Cyriac or Nastase?
As much as I like Ilie, I think I would prefer Jan Cyriac. I think he's a very smart man. Ilie is very funny. He's a comedian. Where Jan is a very serious, matter-of-factly character, and I think that's better.
Do you think that Ilie Nastase is the most talented tennis player all times?
Look, back in his days, he played tennis like nobody did. He had court antics that nobody dared to do. He was one of the first superstars in tennis. He had a long career. He played in his 40s, and then he played on the seniors tour. And he's a very charismatic, eccentric man, and I think because of him, tennis became very popular. Tennis gained a lot of new fans, through that a lot of new sponsorships. So sometimes we have to thank the older players about really giving the younger players the floor to exceed. And Ilie Nastase, he was one of the most influential tennis players.
Can you choose between Simona Halep and Ilie Nastase and tell me which one is more talented?
You see, I'm not a fan of one or the other. I think both were very important for Romanian tennis, but more importantly for world tennis. And I think there's something in this country that brings out great tennis players. If you look at the US Open champion Andreescu, she also has Romanian roots. So I think sport is very important in Romania, whether it's tennis, whether it's football, and it's a great sport. It's played internationally, and Simona is a proud ambassador for Romania around the world.
How many Grand Slams do you think that Simona can win till the end?
It depends. It depends on her energy. It depends on her desire. I think the next natural one, in my opinion, would be the Australian Open because of the surface and beginning of the year. She seems to get a little bit tired in the second half of the year. That's because of her style. So maybe she has to mix up her schedule a little bit for next year, just to be full of energy for the US Open and then the fall tournaments in Asia. But she'll always be a threat on clay, always. For her to win Wimbledon against Serena Williams was an impossibility. Yet she played the match of her life, winning 6-1, 6-2. I mean, those things you can't repeat. It happened once in a lifetime, and for the rest of her life, people remember her as a Wimbledon champion.
Do you think that she can win all the Grand Slams, all the four, can make the four?
There's no reason she can't. There's no reason she can't. She won on clay and she won on grass. That's the most difficult thing. I think hard court is something very comfortable for her, but as I said, she needs to pace herself about the tournaments. She picks and chooses and where she wants to be successful. I think that's the key for her longevity and therefore her success.
Was anything true about becoming you her coach?
No. I love Simona, and whenever I see her, I give her a hug and we speak for a few minutes, but there was never a discussion. First of all, I'm too busy with the German Tennis Federation, and then I work on television as well. I televise all the majors in the world, so there was never a situation where there would be a possibility, but most importantly, we never spoke about it.
I know you know very well Djokovic more than Simona Halep, but can you tell me which one do you think is more difficult to work with, Djokovic or with Simona?
Look, I think all top athletes have personality and have character, and therefore are very smart people. You have to convince them. You have to outsmart them, and there would be a challenge. There was a challenge with Novak, and there's a challenge with Simona. Because they want to get better. They've heard a lot of things already. So if you repeat what they heard before, they're not going to like it. So you have to find new ways of stimulating, of managing, of training, and that's the challenge with all top athletes.
How long do you think that you need to train yourself to beat Simona Halep in a match?
And not anymore. I'm past 50. I'm not supposed to play against her anymore.
But which one do you think it's the hardest opposite of Simona in the WTA?
Look, I think the women's game is changing a little bit. I think the younger ones, a bit like the men, are coming up. I think Bianca Andreescu is a big star, and she's there for good. Ashley Barty had an unbelievable year, becoming number one and winning the French Open on clay, and now winning the WTA Masters in Shenzhen, with the record prize money. And so those are her challenges. You have Naomi Osaka, again very young, and the women game is changing with younger players coming, challenging the veterans.
We all know that we have in Romania Halep, Țiriac, Năstase, Comăneci. Can you tell me another sport names? Do you know another sportives from Romania?
Well, I was always a fan of Hagi, Georgia Hagi. I thought he was one of the best footballers of all time. But I'm good friends with Nata Comăneci, and you've mentioned the others. This is the people I see many times a year, and we're good friends.
I know that you are a supporter of Chelsea as well. I was wondering if you know Mutu or Dan Petrescu.
I met Mutu briefly once. I'm a Chelsea fan, so I watched them, but I don't know them so well, no.
Do you are thinking to, not to move here in Romania, but you are coming very often now to buy a vacancy house?
Yeah, I live in London. I'm happy to live in London, but whenever I have an opportunity to come to Bucharest, I'd love to come. I love this country club. Steșari is one of the best country clubs I've been in my life, with all the facilities. So whenever I have an opportunity, I'm happy to come here.
Can you tell me a tennis player that you want to play, not a tennis game, but a chess game?
I've played a lot of chess with Novak Djokovic. He's a big fan of the game, but he still has to learn a little bit.